Let's make a spinach, mushroom, lentil, asparagus, and green bean soup in the Instapot. Let's complement that with a toasted Brie and Prosciutto sandwich. For dessert, we're going to have s'mores. We're going to toast them in a pan on the stove. We're going to start out with honey-made graham crackers. We're going to make them special or unique by using Trader Joe's strawberry and watermelon marshmallows. And we're going to use the delicious chocolate of guitar. A lot of people think that just because we live in Arizona that it's hot and dry all the time, but we do get about 30 to 45 days a year that are wet and rainy. So today is going to be one of those days where it's going to be raining all day and it's kind of chilly, mid 60s. And I was going to go run this afternoon, but with a little bit of lightning outside, I think I'm going to wait until tomorrow to go running. And I think I'm going to stay inside and make a soup. So here are our ingredients for our soup. It will be mostly vegetarian except for the chicken broth. For this recipe, we do want the soup to be thin and watery, so we'll add all 32 ounces of the chicken broth. The vegetables are full of water themselves, which will add moisture to the broth. The spinach, for example, is 90% water. Only cucumbers and celery have more water at 96%. At the top of our screen, we have 1 cup of red lentils, which will add protein, fiber, and nutrients to our soup. Next, we have a half a teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt. Then we have 1/4 of a teaspoon of onion powder. And for a subtle heat on the front of the tongue, on the left side of the ramekin, we have 1/8 of a teaspoon of piquant or spicy cayenne pepper. In the middle, we have 1/4 of a teaspoon of white pepper. And on the right side of the bowl or ramekin, we have 1/8 of a teaspoon of smoked paprika for a rich flavor of roasted peppers. Next, we have maybe 8 to 10 baby portobello mushrooms. To save time, after washing the mushrooms, consider just crushing the mushrooms into pieces with your hands instead of worrying about chopping them into perfect same-size pieces. Then we have our spinach. We have about 12 ounces of spinach for reference of size and place of purchase. This spinach was bought at Costco and came in a 16-ounce container. Next, we have perhaps 15 to 20 small to medium-sized stalks of asparagus, and lastly, 15 to 20 green beans. I like to make soups using several vegetables, and this is a great way to use vegetables that you may otherwise throw away or place into the compost pile. So now we're going to add our dry ingredients. Here's the salt. Next, we'll add our onion powder and other spices. As a general rule, if we don't put enough salt in before cooking, we could always add it to a bowl before eating. If the soup is too salty, we could just add tablespoons or cups of water to a serving to dilute the salt to water ratio. Let's expedite the video display. We'll add the organic chicken broth along with the asparagus and the green beans. This broth was purchased at Sprouts. I think the broth was 2 for $4 or $5. We'll stir it so that all the spices become dissolved in the liquids. Then we're going to add the lentils, and then we'll add a pretty big bag of greens. My first reaction is that it's too much to put into the Instant Pot because it goes way over the fill line. But these vegetables contain mostly water, and so their volume, especially the spinach, is going to reduce or shrink down drastically, perhaps by like 80 or 90% of their original size. The antithesis or opposite of ingredients such as these vegetables reducing in volume or the amount of space they take up would be rice and pasta. Rice will expand by up to 3 times its original size as it absorbs moisture. Beans and grains like oatmeal will also increase in volume as opposed to losing it. Since it's a desire to have a very liquidy or brothy soup, we're going to add another 12 ounces of water. We're going to make these ingredients more spoon-friendly by using these super handy KitchenAid culinary scissors, which come with a nice safety sheath or cover. I like these scissors because they can help expedite the preparation process and can help reduce kitchen cleanup by avoiding the use of cutting boards. The vegetables are cleaned in a bowl using vinegar, baking soda, and water, and they are rinsed in the same bowl, and then desired chunks or pieces of the vegetables can be cut with these scissors. As a parent, they have been valuable for cutting the crust off of sandwiches. So now we can see that it all fits nicely into the pot, and although the volume will reduce during the cooking process, the ingredients are already at or below the top of the fill line, which is at least 2 inches below the top of the cooking pot. Let's plug it in. Here we're going to seal the lid on. And then I think I'm going to click on soup and broth, make sure it's on high pressure and reduce it to about 14 minutes. And within just a number of seconds, it's going to go beep. It's going to go state that it's on and ready to go. There it is. And lastly, make sure that the vent handle is pointed towards the S in sealing as opposed to down in venting. The pressure cooker is going to take anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes to pressurize and become hermetically sealed or airtight and rise to the temperature that it is going to be required to cook for the duration of the time that you programmed it and the setting. And when it does, it will count down from the minutes that you programmed it to cook. So in this case, the pressure cooker under a soup and broth setting for 14 minutes took probably 10 minutes to actually pressurize and start the countdown sequence. And I could hear it, the water in it, in the broth start to boil. So whatever you have cooking inside during the pressurizing sequence, the phase one of the Instapot, is going to start cooking. So I consider it the definitive pre-cook. And then it will count down, the Instapot will count down the number of minutes that you programmed it to cook. And then what I like to do is I like to just unplug the Instapot. You don't have to, because it will go on to a low setting eventually, so it'll stop cooking, so you don't have to worry about burning it or whatever the food is inside of it. But I like to just unplug it and let it sit and stew, whatever it is, meat, beans, vegetables. I kind of like to let it stew. Now, if I were to be cooking, let's say, some sort of a jelly or something like that, I'd probably open it right away. But with vegetables and meats, I kind of like to let it sit in there, even though it's done after the time is elapsed. Just be careful when you vent it, because that vent steam will be hot. Here it is going to a low sequence, and it will count in ascending order numbers. So it'll go to 1 to 2 minutes and 3 minutes and 4 minutes and so on and so forth. And there is some sort of a stopping point for the Instapot. It'll probably turn off if it gets too hot. And then what I like to do is like to just unplug it, and I'm going to walk away. So now I have the pressure cooker that is off. The Instapot is off. I'm going to take advantage of the simmer time to go walk to the store to get a few things. For our toasted Brie and Prosciutto sandwich, we picked up a package of King Hawaiian mini sub rolls, a baby wheel of Le Bon Vie Brie cheese, and a package of Negroni prosciutto. Already at home, we have a blackberry preserve from Bon Maman, which we will use as a dipping sauce for our toasted Brie sandwich, specifically because hot melted Brie, toast or a cracker, and blackberry preserves go really well together. We also have some zingy, delicious, gut-healthy probiotic sauerkraut from Bubby's as a side dish. The first step in making the sandwich is to butter one side of each of the two slices or pieces of bread. We will then place the Brie and prosciutto on the unbuttered side of the bread. The buttered side will be the side touching the surface of the pan, which is at a medium heat. We'll flatten the bread down, panini-like, to encourage the melting and the merging of ingredients, but we don't have to. We will flip the sandwich once the bread is the desired color, and we'll toast each side for several minutes or longer. We'll cover the sandwich to trap in the heat, and in the final minute or two of cooking, we'll pour maybe 1 teaspoon of water in the pan and then cover it again. Steam carries far more heat energy than air, so the cheese will melt faster and the sandwich will heat up more evenly. Also, this will help so that we don't burn the bread while undercooking the cheese. So it's been about an hour since I unplugged this, and basically what I like to do is I like to take a spoon or a spatula and turn it to see if there's any pressure left in it, just because I don't want to burn my hand. And it looks like the pressure, it's depressurized. And so let's just take the lid off and see what it looks like inside. So as we do, A little bit of pressure. Oh my goodness, steamed up the whole. Yes, even the cat Peanut Butter likes what she smells or hears. So right now, it's a really soupy green mix. It just looks like a powerhouse of so many greens in here. And I'm just super curious as to what it tastes like. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit. See what my first reaction is of this. I really kind of want to get a little bit of broth. How about like something like that? Okay. It's so, oh my goodness. That is delicious. Okay, well, I'm just gonna let this kind of vent a little bit. I'm gonna pour some in a bowl and I'm gonna eat some. And this looks amazing. Let me see what one of these, that looks like a green bean right there. Absolutely delicious. Just the right amount of salt too. So while my last cheese sandwich is cooking, I'm just gonna go ahead and partake in this. What we have here is the very delicious and powerhouse green soup of spinach and mushrooms, asparagus, green beans, and then we have some sauerkraut here as a probiotic, very delicious, got a nice zing. And we have a cheese sandwich, which is brie cheese and prosciutto on a Hawaiian roll or Hawaiian sub roll. And then we've got some, since it is brie cheese and blackberry jelly goes really well with brie cheese, that we've got a little blackberry jelly there. So my mouth is watering. I'm gonna eat. So that was absolutely delicious. I probably had maybe 4 bowls or ramekins of the soup itself, and then I had 2 really delicious toasted cheese sandwiches with prosciutto on them, and dipped them in jelly, which is quite a bit of sugar, but I completed a 21-hour fast, having actually a 22-hour fast, because the last time I ate last night was like 9 o'clock, and it's I started eating at about 10 after 7, so a good 22-hour fast, and I can make this a lot, let's say, healthier by just having the soup. But boy, I was hungry, and that brie toasted cheese sandwich really hit the spot. So if you do try this, I hope you enjoy it.
For dessert, let's make some s'mores. We'll start out by breaking off and laying down one side of a graham cracker. We will then place the chocolate chips on the surface of the cracker. We can also cut up the chocolate chips and distribute them throughout the cracker surface. Then we just need to put the marshmallows on top of the chocolate and then place the other section of the graham cracker on top of that. Let's put it into the pan.
Okay, it is kind of hot, but I'm gonna go ahead and dig in. That's what that is. That is a s'more with strawberry watermelon marshmallows, guittard chocolate, very rich chocolate, and honey-made graham crackers. Here we go. Let's see. Oh my goodness. I'd say the chocolate is the salient flavor there. I don't know if I really taste the watermelon, maybe slightly. This is really amazing. Probably like 4 minutes on the stove. Look at that. Looks like a Neapolitan. Well, as you can see, it's not lasting very long. Might have to say goodbye right now. Enjoy.